بسم الله نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are continuing talking about the biography of the four great jurists, or the four great Imam of jurisprudence. We started talking about the second Imam, who is Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik, who was born 93 Hijri, the same year when Malik bin Anas died. And these two names should not confuse us. Malik bin Anas bin Malik had no relationship whatsoever with Anas bin Malik. Anas bin Malik was a Sahaba who actually was attending Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His mother gifted to the Rasul her son, so that the son could attend to the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and therefore learned a lot of hadith and was a great alim in hadith. And he was among the people who lived for very long and died in the year 93. It's just a coincidence that the year when one of the great Sahaba and the eldest one who died, and one of the greatest faqih who was born. Just like Imam Abi Hanifa, who was born in 80 Hijri and died 150, the same year he died is the same year when Imam Shafi'i was born. So Imam Malik, we have talked about him yesterday. He was tall, fair, a bit dark, white but a bit darker, and with bald head, and very good appearance, and a very presentable figure with a great personality and respect. He started, as you have said, when he wanted to learn about ilm, and he told his mother, and the mother prepared the best dress, and prepared the turban, the amama, and told him to go to Rabi'a to start learning. And she said, you start learning his knowledge before his adab. Then after some time, he went to Ibn Hurmuz. And we said yesterday, with Ibn Hurmuz, he stayed for quite a number of years. It is reported that he stayed for 7 or 8 years exclusively with Ibn Hurmuz, where he got a lot of knowledge of the fiqh and hadith. Just like Imam Abi Hanifa stayed with Hamad ibn Abi Sulaiman for 18 years and got a lot of knowledge. Then Malik, after those 7 or 8 years with Ibn Hurmuz, spent more years where he was still studying under the leadership and Mu'addib and Murabbi Ibn Hurmuz, and he used to go to other shuyukh, because it is said that in another version he stayed 13 years or 15 years. So we will say the first 7 to 8 years was exclusively with Ibn Hurmuz. The other 13 to about 15 years, Imam Malik was going to Ibn Hurmuz, but at the same time going to other shuyukh. And this is the way it used to be done. You continue with various type of shaykh to get ilm, as it is now in universities. You get ilm in the same course from quite a number of professors, each one with his specialization. And from Ibn Hurmuz, he learned a lot of virtues and a lot of adab. One of them, and Ibn Hurmuz used to teach his students, is to say, La adri, I don't know. So that you always have that feeling that there are certain questions you may not be able to answer them. And he wanted to teach his students, even if they know, not to indulge all the time, so that the time when you don't know something, you don't find it difficult to say, I don't know. And in this connection, Imam Malik was well known for that. There is a narration which says that somebody came with 48, or within the sitting, 48 questions were asked, and 32 of them he said, I don't know. And at one time, somebody came from Maghrib, from the North Africa, say from Morocco, and spent about 6 months on the camel until reaching Medina. And then he asked the question, and Malik said, I don't know. So this man was fairly disappointed and said, what do I say after I have gone all the way and people have said to go to Malik? He said, just tell them, Malik says, La astahsin, I'm not good at this question. Maybe he was saying these things have not happened here, so that I've never read more about it. And then the man said, now, who then will be able to answer this question? And Malik said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches his people. Whoever has been taught by Allah will answer this question. So he doesn't feel that he is the only one. Contrary to what is happening now, at least for the people who are fairly well-learned and great scholars, but then you see quite a number of us who are prepared to answer all sorts of questions, and definitely there are some which are heavier than the knowledge we have, but we find it difficult to tell somebody, I don't know. So Imam Malik learned that from his master Ibn Hurmuz. He also learned actually not to say things, all of them, which he reported from Ibn Hurmuz. Ibn Hurmuz, especially in hadith, he didn't want to be quoted. For that fear that I have told you this, but suppose I am wrong, and then you are telling other people, then I will be responsible in that hadith which I'm not. It's not that he's not sure, he's sure, but he fears that he may have gone wrong. And this Imam Malik was also very particular. Imam Malik will not teach his students all what he knows. He will teach them specifically hadith and actually fiqh. Other issues he will run away from them even though he knew quite a lot about them. So Imam Malik, as I said, will just answer the question pertaining to hadith and fiqh. If he is asked jadal, the type of argument in ilm al-kalam, with the Mu'tazila, with the rationalist, used to be called, with al-Jabariyah, those people who believe that we are forced to do things, that is the qadar, we are not given the option. This is the people who feel that whatever we are doing, we are tuned to do that, we cannot do otherwise. And if that is the case, then Allah, it will not be right for him to punish us if we have done something and we were not given the option. We are given the taklif, we have the option to do or not to do. So this Jabariyah, he will not answer about them. And Marja'iyah and Khawarij, all these type of people, he will hardly answer. One time somebody who was really against the Al-Mu'tazila came and he started asking him a question about qadar, about predestination, and Malik tried to show him keep quiet until he finished the whole lecture. All the people had gone, he remained back and he answered him that and answered quite a number of questions just to that particular individual. He didn't want these things which are a bit controversial and some people may not understand them well to actually talk in the darsa and everybody hears about them. Imam Malik grew up, as we said earlier, in the Medina, and Medina was well known for its ilm and the people observing the sunnah of our Rasulullah. We have said it so many times that this is the place where the Prophet remained 10 years, starting to establish the Islamic State, and this is where Abu Bakr was giving the fatwa, was the Khalifa, with the shura of the Sahaba for 2 years and 3 months. This is the place where Umar, and during his time, 10 years and a half, there were so many fatwa and so many issues were raised. All those issues happened in the Medina, and this is where Uthman ibn Affan was the Khalifa for 12 years. And during the time of Umar never allowed the Sahaba to go and live anywhere. He strictly, the learned Sahaba said, you just remain in Medina. We don't want each one of you to go somewhere else and we start hearing this and that version. So only the Sahaba who have been allowed by Umar radiallahu anhu to go outside to teach other people will be allowed by Umar. And this, for example, you remember we say Abdullah bin Mas'ud was allowed to go to Iraq and go to Kufa and teach the people there. And other Sahaba like Mu'adh ibn Jabal was allowed by Umar to go to Damascus and teach them fiqh and other type of knowledge. So Medina remained as the center of learning. And there were quite a number of people who are really learning. For example, during the time after the death of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, one of the best learned individuals was actually Zayd ibn Thabit. Zayd ibn Thabit was a young man who actually grew up in Medina and converted to Islam at a very early age and was among the Hufaz of Qur'an at a very early age. And you remember he's the one who was given the job by Abu Bakr and Umar to compile the Qur'an after the Battle of Ridda. And he's the same person who was also told by Uthman ibn Affan during his Khilafah to instance to produce copies of the Mus'haf. So Zayd ibn Thabit was a very learned individual after the Prophet ﷺ, and he was in Medina. And then people like Abdullah bin Umar was great scholars in Islam and he was in Medina. And then Aisha was a great scholar in Islam and she was in Medina. And then Sa'id ibn Musayyib, who was actually Sayyid al-Tabi'in, the best one among the Tabi'in and ilm, he was in Medina. So Medina was the center of learning. Then, after staying with Rabia and Ibn Hurmuz, Imam Malik started going to Nafi'. Nafi' is Mawla Ibn Umar. He is the servant or the attendant of Abdullah ibn Umar. And remember I said Abdullah ibn Umar was one of the great scholars who learned the ilm from his father Umar and from other Sahaba. Because Abdullah ibn Umar was among the young Sahabas, but during the time of Battle of Badr, I think he was not allowed because he was young, but the Battle of Uhud he was around 15, so he remained with the Sahaba for very long and was very concerned and interested in Islam. In fact, they say Abdullah ibn Umar was actually looking for the best way to have ta'ah and ibadah, while Abdullah ibn Abbas was a great alim and Hibr Hadihi Ummah was looking also for easier way. So Abdullah ibn Umar got this knowledge, and his Mawla, that is Nafi' Mawla ibn Umar, was actually a very learned individual, and Malik started visiting Nafi'. He said, I will go to Nafi' at the middle of the day, and I will move from Baqi, so he comes out a bit out of Medina. And you can imagine a place like Medina, how hot it is during noon. And he will come trying, there is really no shade during that time, until he reaches the house of Nafi'. Then he will wait outside his house, waiting for him to leave and go to the mosque, waiting for Nafi'. Once he leaves, he will greet him and let him, and move after him, behind him, until he reaches the mosque. He will give him a short time to settle. And then once he settles, he will go and sit next to him and ask him about the fiqh of Abdullah ibn Umar. And then he will start answering him, and he was saying, فَيُجِيبُنِي ثُمَّ أَحْبِسْ عَنْهُ, I remain with him, asking him questions. This is before Dhuhr, وَكَانَ فِيهِ حِدَّةٌ. And he said Nafi' was a bit difficult, was a tough type of teacher. No nonsense, sort of, you really have to behave yourself and to be very careful to handle him. And you can see Malik, he will first wait and he will not knock in his house. And then when he leaves, he will greet him just to show him I've been waiting for you. Then he will not ask him on the way. And he will go, and once he reaches the mosque, he will not go and ask him straight away. He will let him rest and do what he wants first. And then as he finds that he's settling down, then he will go and start asking. He went like that to collect the ilm of Nafi', just like what he did from Ibn Hurmuz and like what he did with Rabi'a. And he collected much more from Nafi', hadith and fiqh. And Ibn Umar was very good at fiqh and very good in the hadith. And by the way, for those who are interested in hadith, the most authentic hadith, which is called Silsilat al-Dhahabiyah, the golden chain, is the hadith which has been reported by Imam Malik, reported from Nafi', reported from Abdullah bin Umar, and from Rasul. Because Malik was very particular, Nafi' was very particular, Abdullah bin Umar was very particular, so these are the hadiths which are very authentic. And Imam Malik was such an individual. And by the way, as we know, Imam Malik was the first Imam to start compiling and writing down the hadith. His book, which is Al-Muwatta Imam Malik, was the first one. Of course, that was before Imam Bukhari, who came much later, and Imam Muslim, and At-Tirmidhi, and An-Nasai, and Ibn Majah. All these came much later. Now, as he was collecting the hadith from Nafi', he was continuing also collecting from Az-Zuhri. This is the fourth individual. Rabi'a, Ibn Hurmuz, Nafi' and now Az-Zuhri. And he said, he started collecting knowledge and listening for hadith from Az-Zuhri. He said, one time, Shahidul Eid, the day of Eid, when actually people are interested to go and relax, he went and prayed. Immediately after the prayer, he just followed Az-Zuhri without him seeing and started waiting outside his house. And then Az-Zuhri one time asked the maid, who is outside? He said, this young man, that is Imam Malik. And he said, let him in. He is going to be the alim of the people. Now when he went in, Az-Zuhri just sympathized with Imam Malik. And he said, it seems after the Eid, you have never gone home, you have come here straight. He said, yes. It seems you haven't eaten. He said, yes. Now, let me give you something. He said, no. What do you want? He said, I just want hadith. So he started narrating to him hadith. And he narrated to him about 40 hadiths. Over 40, significant, just a bit over 40. And then he stopped. And Malik told him, Zidni, just like what our Rasul said, Rabbi Zidni ilma has been told to ask Allah to give you more knowledge. And Rasul said, Hasbuk, that is enough. إن كنت رويت هذه الأحاديث فأنت من الحفاظ. If you have memorized this hadith, then you are of the Hufad al-Hadith, Hafiz. He said, yes, I have. He said, okay, and he was writing. Give me your place. And okay, start narrating the hadith. And he narrated all of those 40 hadiths correctly. And what he told him, Qum fa'anta min awliyat al-ilm. Go, you are among the vessels of knowledge, that you have contained a lot of knowledge. So he left him to go. And now it just shows you how these people were. Remember I said that by that time, hadiths have not yet been written. Even Imam Malik is more has not yet been written. So it is a student who tries to trust his memory and try to write. And actually you have to be, some of these people, they would not even write because the person is narrating quite quickly, and then he will be trying to concentrate, and then you can imagine just after the narration, you didn't even have time to go home and memorize, and now somebody asks you, have you memorized this hadith? You say yes, and you read them correctly, and you are praised by such an individual. It just shows how much interest they have, and it just showed how much good memory they had, and this good memory was because of Safwat al-Qulub. Their hearts were purified, and they were very far from from doing the mistakes. He says, I will go to Zuhri and study the hadith, and whenever he finishes one hadith, I have a piece of thread. I will make one note. He finishes the second hadith, I will make another note. So that by the end he knows how many notes, how many hadiths he has already taught him. Imagine, the situation. Sometimes you can think Islam has also material of writing. Sometimes, as I said, he wants to get this hadith very quickly. Maybe if he keeps on writing, he will delay the teacher. And then one day he said he was told quite a number of hadith, about 31. And then he tried to see the notes, and he was 31. But he tried to remember the hadith, he remembered only 30. So one has escaped his mind. So he went back to Az-Zuhri and told him, can you tell me a hadith connected with something? He said, why not? Weren't you there? He said, I was there. But I have memorized 30, but this one, I have forgotten it. And what did he say? ذهب حفظ الناس. The memory of the people have already gone. I have 20, 31 hadith and you have only remembered 30. Just imagine these people how they were. That's why I say sometimes, and I said the same statement when I was talking about the Sahaba. Yes, these people are not Anbiya, these people are not Ma'sumin, but these people are not like us. These people were different generation. No wonder خيركم قرني ثم الذين يلونهم. The best one of you is the contemporaries of the Sahaba and the people who came after. They were so much keen about this deen and this ilm that there is no way we come closer to them. So we should really have a lot of respect to these people. You can't imagine, even now, if you give a lecture to anybody, that individual will remember your lecture, even 1/3 of it, just immediately. In fact, if you give the exam, and that is after the semester, and then you find somebody has remembered at least perhaps half of it, you find that was good enough and you have given all the time, and perhaps if they have an indication sometimes when you're taking, saying, this topic is very important, knowing that 1 or 2 questions will come from there. You can imagine randomly you have taught for all the time and then you expect all these people to remember very well. And the way we give the lecture at times is almost a dictation, and perhaps we also give the notes and we ask our question specifically coming from our notes and very little from other textbooks. Then Imam Malik was so respectful to the Prophet ﷺ. He will never take notes of the hadith of Rasulullah when he is standing. One time he was asked by Amr ibn Dinar, one of the ulama of Medina. Malik passed and he was giving the hadith, narrating the hadith, and Malik did not stop to take notes. And he knew that he's interested in ilm. So when he saw it, he said, I had seen you, but then you just went. Why didn't you sit to take note of the hadith? He said, after people asked him, why did you take? He said, I saw him giving the talk about the hadith, but people were standing taking notes, and I didn't read. I felt bad to listen to the hadith of Rasulullah, and I am standing and taking notes. He really wanted, he must have sat down. In fact, we will talk also tomorrow about how particular he was and respectful of the hadith of Rasulullah. It is reported also from Abi Zinad, وهو يحدث فلم يجلس إليه. Again, another individual, he was giving the narration of the hadith, but he didn't sit. فلقيه فقال له ما منعك أن تجلس إليه? Why didn't you sit? He said, كان الموضع ضيقا. The place was very congested. There was no place for me to sit. And since I couldn't sit, I didn't want to take the notes when I am standing. It is said that Imam Malik, when people come to ask him maybe at home, he asked them, come, they want to consult him. Do you want to listen to the hadith or you want to listen to the fatwa? You have your question. If it is question, you will come out straight away and answer, give them the fatwa. If it is hadith, you will say, give me time. You will go and take a shower and make the wudu and put on the best dress and put the amama and put the perfume and then put oud there and then sit down with your body, put his turban and everything, sit down with waqar and start narrating the hadith of Rasulullah. And if anybody makes any talks loudly, he will actually be very harsh to you. Don't raise your voice with the voice of Rasulullah. It's as if that verse, it is said about the Prophet when he's there, but now because he's narrating the talk, the saying of the Prophet, somebody should not talk loudly. This is the way Malik used actually to respect Rasul and his ahadith. He will never ride his animal only when it is outside of Medina. When he's asked, he said, I cannot ride an animal, a horse or something, and this is the hardest place where a Rasul was actually buried. I can't. This is the time of ihtiram, the value he had to the Prophet ﷺ. No wonder Allah made him such a great scholar, and Allah made his madhab to be very much accepted, and Allah made him the person who was giving fatwa for very long. Malik, as we said, was born 93 and died 179. He lived for 86 years. We are going to talk about it tomorrow, inshallah. He started giving the fatwa when he was around 21 or so. Some people who really like him so much said 17, but a lot of scholars, muhaqqiqin, they say 17 was a short period. He's still young to be able to be allowed to give fatwa. And that's in the Masjid al-Rasul, where there were a lot of other tabi'in who are older than him, like Nafi', like Ibn Zur, like Azuri, like Ibn Hurmuz. Therefore they say most likely it was over 21. That is the time he started giving fatwa. But you can imagine, when he gave fatwa, he continued until he died. So he must have been giving fatwa for about 60 years, until there was that saying that you cannot give fatwa when Malik is in Medina. You cannot give fatwa when Malik is alive in Medina, because people got used to him as the most learned individual, and people will come from all over the Muslim world, specifically during the time of Hajj. We are being told that he will bring in people according to the groups. He will say, now, let people of Sham come in, and they ask their question. Then when they finish, let people say from Iraq come in, let people from Khurasan come in, until those various groups are finished. This was Imam Malik radiallahu anhu, and how great, learned individual he was. The students say Imam Malik was a very humble individual. He will mix up with us, he will sit next to us without any distinction. But immediately he starts talking about the hadith, he is different. We will find that he has changed. There is nothing like it. No, it's a serious look completely. Just like the Rasulullah Aisha says, will play with us, joke with us, but immediately adhan is made, and he will now start rushing for the salah. He has already changed and is a different individual. This is how people were. They took the serious thing very seriously. And Imam Malik, contrary to Abu Hanifa, where you will have a lot of niqash, he will give his talk, and with the personality that you will not dare to ask him anything. You will not dare to say where you got that information. I think this was actually his style. And the personality, he was saying, the student, we wish somebody from outside comes, and then we tell him to ask the question so that we can hear, because we cannot even ask the question. And don't be surprised. Our Rasulullah was more or less like that, with his haiba, with his personality. We are being told that the Sahaba and Mufassirin al-Qur'an, the Sahaba asked the Prophet about 13 questions. يسألونك عن كذا, يسألونك عن المحيط, يسألونك عن الأهلة, all this type of thing. And they were saying that we were wishing a Bedouin comes from the countryside, he will be so there and ask questions, and at least will get a chance to hear those questions, how they are answered. This is how Imam Malik was to his students. A fairly well-composed individual with very great personality that you don't dare to start questioning his issues. And if you have something, maybe the best thing would be to wait. And later on, he had some of his students, if somebody really becomes difficult in bringing issues which are not entertained, like ilm al-kalam, then some of the students will remove that person. Remember on the issue of istiwa al-arsh, we'll talk about that one later. When somebody asked, he answered him and then said, I think you are in bid'ah, and move out from my majlis. In other words, don't spoil my student. This was Imam Malik radiallahu anhu, and we'll talk more about him inshallah tomorrow. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.